Some of your big states that you would think. There was a lot of applicants out there when I applied and saw everybody that had applied. I kind of thought my chances were pretty slim. So when
So we're quite pleased to get it, even though we knew that it would involve quite a bit more work.
yeah, it's like working a second job for me right now. But you know, once they get established and they realize, they see what we're doing here in Carroll County, I think they'll see that the benefit is going to benefit their schools and their people too in those other two counties.
How many other areas in the state do not have these programs?
There, I can't tell you how many counties. There's 19 programs in Iowa, but some of them cover multiple counties. Like now we're going to be a 3-county. Some of them have 4 and 5 counties. Less than half. Less than half the counties.
I'm sure some of them probably have just a single county too, like Polk, or do they have?
I want to say Polk is just
By
Polk
itself,
County.
yeah, yeah.
But then you get in the Iowa City area, and there's like 5 counties altogether there. Some of them are quite large, but less than half the counties in Iowa, I think, have RSVP presence.
Virginia, you have a question?
Did I hear that right, that next year's budget will be one budget for all 3 counties?
They'll roll together. The federal funding will roll together.
What about local funding?
Well, local funding,
Will that stay in county?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, the local funding, each county's local funding stays within their own county. That will not be used in additional counties.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Stacy.
All right, thank you, Stacy. Well, Stacy's a wealth of knowledge, and I'm still learning, so I probably don't have quite as many stats to provide you, but the foster grandparent program is, you know, just here in Carroll County, and it's targeted towards specific seniors. As you probably all know about the program already, that they are low income. They have to be low income qualified because they do receive a federal stipend. And so our annual budget is, the federal portion is $55,142, and about 80% of that is targeted toward the stipends that go out to our volunteers. So the remaining budget funds, we have to, you know, locally match that minimum of 10%, but obviously our budget exceeds what, in other words, we aren't being awarded 80% of what our budget is projected. We just get a set amount from the feds, and then we have to come up with the difference. So, and I do all sorts of things with the volunteers. We have our a monthly in-service meeting where we're required to do 4 hours of some type of training, education with our volunteers. So that's you know, an ongoing expense. And then, as you can see in the budget that was submitted, we have, you know, supplies, equipment, you know, just different things like that. But we do recognition with our volunteers, service years and things like that. So we do an annual recognition event with them. I also am asking for level funding of $1,000. And again, that is just to help sustain our local match toward the overall budget. So I think I've covered everything. Do you have any questions for me?
I'll just state that one of the challenges foster grandparents has is they have to be income qualified. So there are actually some excellent people out there who do excellent work for foster grandparent, but their income is too high to participate. So that's a balancing act that you have to.
It is. I have some great volunteers that have, you know, wanted to get involved, but they're over income.
So you're basically working with the schools and the school districts.
Yeah, our focus area is education.
Right.
So we work with the public and faith-based schools as well as Head Start, and certain daycares qualify as well that have nonprofit status. libraries also. Yeah, so education is the focus area. And all of the kids that receive the services of the volunteers are targeted, so to speak. There's a whole, there's categorical needs identified in our education system, like maybe kids that have a low reading, scores, math scores. Head Start, for example, almost about 90% of the kids that attend Head Start are coming from low-income families, high-risk families. There's been studies that show that, those kids are more at risk for, learning setbacks, and they're at a disadvantage because of other stresses in their life that, kind of get in the way. So, statistics have shown that the volunteers, work with these targeted children, and we show the numbers, of course, every year of increased reading proficiency, increased math scores, different things like that. So it's kind of a win-win. You have children who benefit, but you also have, this low-income population of volunteers that are given purpose and a little extra income that's tax-free. So it's a great program.
A couple of years ago, I had the experience of shadowing one of the foster grandparents in Fairview. And it was kind of an eye-opening experience, that a couple of kids one at a time decided they'd work with reading and some of the words, and you could just see within a few minutes how you were helping that kid. And I don't know who's feeling more rewarded, the kid who's learning how to read better or the foster grandparent who is seeing the success, So that was quite an eye-opening experience for me, to shadowing one of our foster grandparents. And I enjoyed that, learned a lot in a short period of time.
Any other questions?
So one question that I have, like say, you said this is income-based as far as the foster grandparents. Can people volunteer and not receive any dollars?
That's what
Yes.
RSVP is for.
Okay.
Yeah, and they could do it here as well, but it doesn't, it would cut into our budget because we have to spend money to do background checks and
But you do
whatnot.
the same thing.
We can have, if
Yeah.
people are interested in pen pals or speak up or reading buddies, the difference between RSVP and FGP, foster grandparents have to commit to at least 15 hours a week, every week. Whereas RSVP, they might only have to they might choose to volunteer for 2 hours a week in the classroom, like the Speak Up volunteers, they're volunteering for 6 weeks for 2 hours a week. So that's the difference. Only requirement for RSVP is 55 and want to volunteer. So the people that, we kind of share back and forth. If we
Yeah.
see someone that comes into RSVP and think they might be a match, we funnel them to foster grandparent program. If she gets someone from foster grandparents that isn't a match, then we can funnel them towards RSVP. It's kind of nice that our offices are together. They tie in with each other and we can work back and forth together.
And the other major difference is you guys you help support all ages, not just the young.
Yes,
You.
yes, we have volunteers that are volunteering at nursing homes. We have our big sing-along group that goes around and entertains at nursing homes and care facilities. So and our focus area is education also. They have us choose where we can show impact, but RSVP, we're more diverse in some of the things we're doing. We even have volunteers that help the city if the county, if Courtney ever needed help, a volunteer could come help her with things or whatever. So the volunteers are more flexible. Other than political activity, we're not allowed to engage volunteers in political activities.
They'd be good poll workers,
We can't do that.
No.
No, that's the one thing.
That's too bad.
Political activity,
That's
there's
too bad.
very specific on that with the federal dollars that we get. We're not supposed to be influencing any political activity.
I guess the good thing I see out of it, it's a social network for those, the elderly and those, gets them out of the house and gives them something to do.
You look at it, it's a double win-win. There's been lots of studies proven that people that volunteer stay home longer. You're keeping them healthier longer because they're not sitting at home focusing on, oh, I don't feel good. Or when you get out of the house and you do something and you feel like you're giving something back, you feel better. And our seniors, our volunteers volunteers have a lot of knowledge, they have a lifetime of experience to give back to everybody in our communities. So when you look at your bang for your buck and how, if you look at the number of hours and the number of volunteers involved, it's pretty low. I mean, you're looking at a couple bucks per hour is what it's costing, adding all the funding together, what we're utilizing volunteers for.
With a far greater payout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, ladies.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thanks.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, next we will have the Breeden Daycare fiscal year 19 funding. Look like you're gonna sit back there sweating both, and now you don't have to.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And you see your name was?
My name is Chelsea Zapp, and I'm the new director of the Breeden Daycare Center. Do you just want me to read off my notes first? Tell you about it, like?
Well, yeah, well, I think we went, you gave us the handout.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Just give your highlights.
highlights.
Do your
and-
program.
Okay. The Breeden Daycare Center is a nonprofit organization that serves Breeden and Carroll areas for the past 23 years. Our mission at the Breeden Daycare is to provide children with happy social and group play, allowing each child to develop individually and in areas of social, intellectual, emotional, and physical development. We believe that the joy of learning is shared together in a loving environment while at the same time encouraging a positive attitude toward learning, creativity, and curiosity. The Breeden Daycare plans to provide a program of creative arts, music, cooking, science, games, dramatic play, field trips, visitors, and more. We provide quality care to ages 2 weeks to 10 years old, and we currently have 18 families. This summer, I plan to have 8 infants. I have an ongoing waiting list actually for our infant and 1-year-old classrooms. We have 10 toddlers and we'll have 15 preschool ages. During the summer months, the daycare staff makes arrangements to take frequent trips to the local swimming pool and park. We provide valuable service to working parents by escorting the children enrolled in their swimming lessons in the summertime. And the center also has a before and after school program. And we also in the summer will participate in lemonade stands, car washes. We have a vegetable garden, and we are in a summer reading program. I'm pretty sure you guys know back in 2014 that we did the creative curriculum, so that kind of goes along with the learning sessions. But in this year, I currently just added a preschool program for 3-year-olds to prepare them for 4-year-old preschool and kindergarten. With that, I kind of added the handwriting without tears program. We do not have a full program for it's costly, but with my previous experience with it, I've used my tools that I've gotten from my experience with it currently, and it's a program that helps children to learn to write the correct way and the right way the first time. The center currently participates with the program including DHS Child Care Assistance, CACFP Food Program, Promise Jobs, and Parent Time Out. We offer full-time and part-time statuses and are based on a weekly schedule. We help low-income families with child care assistance, and the pay rate is the same for all families depending if they're full-time or part-time. And the center is open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. to accommodate working parents. We are a licensed center, and we are the only licensed center in a 15-mile radius of Breeden. The community would deeply be affected if we did not receive funding assistance for the center. The center has 5 full-time staff, 3 part-time staff, and 4 board members, and currently no volunteers. In the past, I know they have remodeled the bathroom, They've replaced the carpets. There was a note of a new roof, but I'm not sure like how current that roof is. And then we are always striving to find the best. I've made some changes that weren't costly. I took our infant room and instead of having one room, I split it into 2 rooms so that we have our non-walkers and our walkers. And so that will take some things in the future to get all the nicks and crannies on that. And then I've also done a lot with the 3-year-old classroom. So currently we are asking for $7,000, one to cover some costs of the daycare to try to get ahead so that we can do some of the further funding that we need to do to get rooms ready and they're good. And also to help with staff wages and making sure that all of our bills are paid, the staff are paid, and we still have that money to get what the daycare also needs in everyday life. And then the second thing we are looking to get is a laptop. Right now we have one computer and it's a sign in and sign out system. And so when the parents come in the morning time and I have work to do, I either have to step out of the way to allow the parents to sign in or sign out, or the whole thing gets messed up. Or I have to go out of what I'm doing to sign the person in and then go back and find out where I'm at now. I also have to stand. So when I'm writing grants or I'm doing billing and all that stuff, I am standing most of my day. I'm working. I have a stool that I try to sit on once in a while, but the children don't necessarily treat the stool the way they're supposed to. So just to get a laptop. Also on that laptop, we can do preschool stuff. I can, for the Handwriting Without Tears, I can prop it up on the TV and they can see Matt Man come to life up there, which is part of the Handwriting Without Tears. We can also get them when it's cold outside, we don't have a gym or anything. So on that laptop, we can also do motor skills on that laptop and put on the big screen that they all can see it and they all can hear it, instead of being like, I can't see my laptop. I don't know if there's any questions or.
Chelsea, in your 3-year-old program, how many kids do you have currently in there?
Currently, we have 6 because we came late in the ball game. I started in May, the end of May, and we kind of discussed this in June, July-ish. And so most of the preschool they put out their things way before May. And so a lot of places already had their kids and kids had their spots. So 4 of them were already a part of our daycare, and then we got 2 to come in from the public, so.
The facility, you own the facility that you're in, correct?
I don't know.
No, the
Oh.
daycare owns it.
Yes.
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 I mean, there's nothing against,
No.
you don't have any loans or anything like that,
No.
according to.
No.
Yep.
You said you were looking for 7,000, and in here it says sources of income was 6. So
That was
That's last year.
That was last
year. So you're looking for a $1,000 increase.
Yes.
Last year, they requested 7 and we gave them 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of a repetitious cycle there.
Okay.
And this year, they're asking for 7 again. I see one of your areas where you've had a significant increase of income is called program income. Is that what parents pay, or what is that? I'm on.
Yes. I'm pretty sure that's what that is.
I'm looking, I'm on a different page here, but.
We did increase our rates a couple times.
Because in 2016, you had 85,792, and 17, you had over 100,000. And I didn't know if you had, part of that is increased rates, and maybe you've had more children, or?
We have gotten, we now currently have a full infant room, and it stays full, and so that is our biggest money maker right there, and we did have to increase a couple times. And
I see part of your expenses are going up too. I can
yes,
see that.
yes, so, I'm not sure when the first one took place, the first increase, but then in October, we did another increase. I think it was like a year from then. I was not a part of that first increase.
So would it be correct to say that that increase is due to increased payment and participation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, George? Okay, not, thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Thanks,
Happy
Chelsea.
holidays to you too.
You too.
Okay. Dave is not here, huh? Okay, let's go down item number 5, inter-fund transfers.
These are the roads transfers. We do these twice a year. First one is from rural services to secondary roads, $980,022.50. And the other resolution is from general basic to secondary roads, $111,735.50. This is half of the budgeted amount. We do these transfers after taxes are all in for the first, so this would be the first half.
Okay, you've heard the resolutions, what they entail. Is there a motion to approve the first one?
I'll make a motion to approve the first interfund transfer from rural service to secondary roads for the sum of $980,022.50.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and second to approve the resolution for interfund operating transfers from $980,022.50 from rural service basic to secondary roads. Roll call?
Miners?
Yes.
Ruggles?
Yes.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Bach?
Yes.
Hanson?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Next we have is a resolution in regard to the interfund operating transfer from general basic fund to secondary roads.
I'll move to authorize transfer of $111,735.50 from general basic fund to secondary road fund.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and second to approve the resolution of interfund operating transfers from general basic to secondary roads in the amount of $111,735.50. Roll call?
Miners?
Yes.
Ruggles?
Yes.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Bach?
Yes.
Hanson?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next we have, let's go down to the payables. For some reason, I don't have it,
Sure you saw we got our motor grader.
but- Yep.
Yeah, it took a big hit. Right?
Yeah.
That was a slug. Funny how they want you to pay for that right away too. isn't it?
They don't believe in Santa Claus.
Yep. Okay, why not? Fun haters.
They definitely want the payment to be faster than the delivery, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, we should tell the salesman next time, we'll just directly relate that.
Yeah.
It's, from the late day of delivery to day of delivery to payment day.
Late payment for
We'll
every
make
day
those
the
days
grader's
equal.
late. Yeah.
You know,
Well-
and the whole secondary roads was just repairs and, you know, I mean, Ziegler and O'Halloran and
Yeah.
you just go right down the line. I mean, Mac, Osby,
And we're not even pushing a lot of snow, Dan.
not yet.
It goes up when the snow falls, because they
Yeah.
get a lot more abuse than
Yeah.
what you saw.
When I saw that number, I'm like, gee. And
The
then
more
I
ma-
saw
the
that
more
road was
machinery you
almost
own, the more
$500,000.
headaches you got.
Well, they're probably trying to get a jump on things.
Otherwise, I didn't see anything there that caught my attention other than what's been addressed, so I'll make a motion to approve the payables.
I'll second it.
Been moved and second to approve the payables. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, next we'll have, go to the plats. We have 2 plats here. This one is, they just keep coming about it back every week, don't they? Keep adding more. Any questions on the plats? I looked them up, I didn't see anything.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward to me too.
I know
Make a
Carl,
motion.
Carl had noted on the one that taking out the building site still left 5 acres or more for the balance of that
Yeah.
parcel. So I think that was a good that Carl had noted that.
No other questions or comments, and make a motion to approve the 2 plats?
I'll second that.
Okay, been moved and second to approve the 2 plats. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Please do not sit down.
He wasn't listening.
You got it.
Motion carried.
Now sit down.
How's
it this morning?
Well,
Not
if
bad
we
day,
kept
right?
going on to the rate we were, we'd have been done.
Really? Wow.
You made it in underneath the wire. Otherwise, you'd have been out for the day.
That
Yeah, you
probably
missed the
did.
part where we said you were the one that spent all the money this bill day.
It's terrible,
Yes.
wasn't it? Oh, my.
Yes, it was.
Golly
We're always
sakes.
asking, we're just right here, then we complain when we have to pay for it, and there's no snow to push it.
Darn thing showed up, yeah.
One comment was made of a lot of repairs.
Lot of
Any
repairs.
particular reason for that?
A lot of Ziegler and O'Halloran and
Yeah.
Osby and just getting ready for the winter.
A lot of getting ready for the winter, yeah.
Yeah.
Repairs have been, electronics are, they're kind of your friend on one hand, and on the other hand, they're an enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff that we can't do in-house, you know, we're
Gonna be more and more and more of it.
more and
Mhm.
more and more of it, yeah. And I don't know what to say there. I just,
It is what it is.
it is what it is. I passed that weed commissioner report around. Really did a good job filling that out, and we used a lot of chemical this year. It was something like 360.
We noticed that going into, you mentioned that one time in the payables
Yeah.
in the midsummer, and man, we've been buying a lot of
A
chemicals.
lot of Tordon, 367 quarts, I see it there.
367.
That's a
quarts.
lot of,
I don't know how many stumps you'd have.
that's a
to
lot of
store.
stumps, boy, I tell ya.
You'd really going to town on
Well, it
Buy
goes
that by the
from last
55
winter,
gallon
just
drum.
cutting brush
No,
out
I
of
think you buy it by the
road
quart. Can you buy that in bulk, that
In
Tordon?
the drum,
that. Yeah, I think,
but then you have storage units for it.
yeah, I think he does a lot of it in
Some-
Bombgars.
And some
Yeah.
EPA stuff
I think
that
that's
goes
where
with
I
that.
always saw
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's
we
right
probably
by
need a
mine.
That's right by
non-spill.
mine.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I know where that's at.
367.
The money you save
I don't
by
wanna use
by
367,
the barrel went
yeah.
out the window on all the regulations to store it.
Yeah,
Mhm. Hazmat.
Yeah.
yeah, Becky pulled the quantities off there, and he came up with, from the bills, and he came up with all
She
the
about
stuff.
nothing she grew in our ditches for a while.
Wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
Got a lot of miles. They add up fast.
Well, that's good, though. I mean,
That's really.
doing a good job and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And getting things cleaned up,
Yeah,
that's
he's
good.
just off and on, you know, he kind of works his own schedule that fits in with the weeds and the wind and all that other stuff, but oftentimes, you know, he'll be there 5:30, coming in at night, and maybe starting a little late in the morning, working. I've got some Templeton Rye stuff to add to the agenda if it would please the board.
Goes good with cupcakes.
Passing it around, or?
Goes good with cupcakes.
It's Marty's fault, because he talked to.
Okay.
Tis the season, huh, Dean?
Why not?
Let's finish this. Do we need to approve this then?
I do, yes. Yeah.
We'll wait till it gets around then.
Palmer Amherst, he hasn't found any of that.
It's coming, don't worry.
I just find that hard to believe, because everybody's dog is complaining about it when they read about it.
This next year, we'll have our work cut out for Canadian thistles with all the batches that went to seed this year.
Boy, that's for sure, they really did, didn't they?
Mhm.
I'll make a motion to approve the weed commissioner's report.
I'll second it.
Then moved and seconded to approve the weed commissioner's report. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
I think the chairman has to sign that. And signs.
He abstained, but he's gonna sign it.
So is that the 2000?
So.
2017, yeah.
Should the agenda should have read weed commissioner annual report as opposed to permit?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I probably gave the wrong thing.
You said the wrong word.
I did.
Okay.
I've got a utility permit here for Mid-American Energy for Templeton Rye Road crossing of that 300th Street. There's a nice diagram there where the crossing shouldn't cause any trouble, I wouldn't think.
Eden Township, do you have a section?
17.
This is for him. This up there.
9 and 16.
Sure does. 9 and 16, Courtney.
Thank you.
There's the second copy.
That's the same thing. There you go, Dean.
What is this for then?
Road crossing. The power.
No, the power.
More power, I think, yeah. Mid-American.
All in already.
I think this is for a different section. Yeah,
Into
Templeton Rye, yeah.
might be three-phase.
Well, they run a bunch up there already.
May not have enough support.
okay, here it is, Gene. Attached permit to cross 300th Street near Templeton to provide a
Same
third
thing.
high voltage feed to Templeton Rye.
Yeah, it would be three phases then.
A third.
Okay.
You sign both of them?
Okay, I'll look. Yes,
Sign both?
Yeah.
Okay, you've heard the utility permit. Is there any motion to approve or deny?
I'll make a motion to approve utility permit.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Approve the utility permit. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
Marty apparently was talking to Lester Brown about
Mhm.
an agreement that they need signed by us because of their treatment lagoon that they're going to have is gonna be within 1,000 feet of our grader shed. And, so by Iowa administrative code, they need all the neighbors to sign off on it and agree that, they can have this treatment, wastewater treatment plant set up in there. There should be enough there to. I didn't get this on the agenda. This came in a little late in the day. I don't think he's in a huge hurry for this, is he?
No.
So, probably take the time and read that and decide next week if that's.
He won't be around this week anyway. He's in St. Louis. He left this morning for St. Louis for meetings.
This is the agreement here. I'll pass that around. There's a map on the back, the agreement on the front, and I highlighted 5 points of it.
Yeah, we are in the office too. So this will be for next week then,
I was aware they were doing something like this. Okay, we wanna look with this on next week then?
That's fine.
That way we can study it. Okay.
You wanna hear about the federal aid swap policy, a quickie on that?
Go ahead.
I'll do my best not to take too long here. The federal aid swap, what we as county engineers have wanted all our careers to get rid of federal aid and just have state aid. It looks like it's gonna come to pass. The federal aid that we get, some of it passes through the region. I'd like to say maybe roughly 200,000 a year passes through the region, and we program projects every 4 or 5 years when we get enough money in. For instance, the Breda and Litterdale asphalt projects this year we're gonna pay for with a portion of federal aid, with a portion from our money from Region 12. That is still gonna continue. We're still gonna program through the region, but there's gonna be a lot less paperwork, a lot less programming, a lot less testing and paper filling out in the end, because we're gonna get dollar for dollar federal aid for state aid for federal aid. And this kind of outlines the whole thing again. It kind of just be better read. It does a pretty good job taking care of it, but it's a really good deal. It's better than what all of us thought would happen. Our bridge money that we usually get and program through the regions, we're just gonna do that in our own 5-year program and get reimbursed directly for it. This federal aid will be just for construction on farm-to-market roads only. So, it says construction of roads and bridges in the, so, can't do it by graders or gravel or anything like that. But it really should get rid of a lot of administrative time and a lot of hoops that we've had to jump through in the past. And it'll save both DOT money, because they're used to working for the federal aid, and they more or less have to look over us and make sure we do everything properly when we spend our federal aid. So they won't have to look over us anymore, and they're used to spending it anyway on big projects.
And the federal DOT is okay with that, huh?
Yeah, feds are okay with that, and so it looks like a win-win situation for nearly everyone. this is what they're gonna start out with, is this 2 pages here, and we'll see how it evolves, whether the regions will stay involved in it down the line, but initially they're gonna stay involved in it. Could have a federal aid project, maybe a trail project or something like that. It would have to jump through the federal aid hoops, but it's gonna be not a common thing.
That'd be limited to like major collectors or?
Yeah.
Mhm.
They've gone clear down to minor collectors on this, on the eligibility down here on the bottom, which is some of our farm-to-market gravel routes. And our bridge money, we were always able to spend it anywhere on local or whatever, and that'll stay the same too. So talking roughly $210,000 worth of bridge money, and our annual share of this federal aid at the region would be roughly $200,000. So we'd probably wait, 5 to 6 years, let things build up, just share it between the counties, wait till you could get $1 million or so to where you'd have enough money to do a larger project.
This gives a little more flexibility about changing farm-to-market roads if we see fit.
I don't know that it'll do that. We kind of do have that flexibility now, though we've got a process to go
I mean,
through.
as the farming community changes, it sometimes changes the traffic flow.
Yeah, you're sure right. I don't think that it would address that. It would allow us to come down to the farm-to-market level and spend money on some of these gravel roads, say do a gravel road grading project on a farm-to-market only route, where before we were pretty well confined to our federal aid routes. So it does kind of open it up more. So you've got Chris's.
We talked about it last Thursday.
Yeah, we just went, I'm going through all of it, we just went through it Thursday.
Yeah, that's I don't know that they'll have to do all that stuff anymore, there won't be a tip, there won't be a stip, all these plans that there won't be, it's just gonna be less administration the way it looks.
Less to worry about Davis-Bacon wage
No,
regulations.
don't worry about that. I think-
Cut the paperwork down a lot.
Yeah, it's just, what a treat.
Mhm. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. It looks good and everybody's cooperating.
Of course, I haven't had time to read this in detail, but I'm seeing the bold print where they're saying that's critical that projects in the first year be developed and let in that year. So, is that gonna be an issue or not?
We've really got ours let, it's gonna be federal aid.
Okay.
You can see on the next page at the bottom, their implementation would be October 1st, 2018, so that beginning of the federal fiscal year 18. So we're not too far off, though they're gonna work real hard at getting the details ironed out now. And for instance, we've got a bridge project, that Honros Bridge, that we're gonna do with federal aid.
I got my first view of that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Took him on tour Friday.
We went on a little road trip.
And I don't think we've federalized that one yet. We're gonna try not to federalize. We've got a project number for it, but we don't have any other paperwork, so we'll be able to do that one with state aid, and.
That one's gonna make you scratch your head a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, we will, yeah.
I giggled when I went across it.
We've scratched for quite a while.
At your
now.
expense.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I giggle about it.
So, yeah, we're gonna be one of the ones to have one of the last federal projects with these two that are gonna be let February 20th. And, Breeder Road,
The-
Lauderdale Road. Somebody's gotta be last, I guess.
But I'm just thinking that after October 1st, they need to be developed and let, not necessarily done, but we just have to have kind of, I don't know if it'd be shovel-ready, but yeah, shovel-ready jobs that people can bid on, so we get bids taken right after October 1st.
Yeah. We're gonna be working on our 5-year program, so I'm sure we're gonna probably put in some swap projects.
Okay.
To do that, hopefully we'll get that far enough along to talk about it. We should have our our part done in spending the funds, you know, we kind of share, we kind of, at the local level, make sure that nobody gets too much or too little, and that's what they want us to do. And, so we'll just be to the trough and have our share taken, one of the last ones, so we won't be due for another share for a few years.
Okay.
And just wanted to pass this around, I'll ask you next week. We've got one of those machines, those shouldering machines that's on the back of that. I think we bought that in September of '02, where we put granular material. We used that on the back of one of our trucks to put granular material for edge rut along the pavements. It's just seems like there's more and more of that to do all the time. With the larger ag implements running out there, they really squash that down and kick a lot of material off, and we can pull some up, but comes a point when you have to replenish it, and I'd like to get a second one. They're roughly $7,819. They're made up in Milford, Iowa. That's the price to, there's no finagling.
Well, and the thing is, I think too, also, the extreme weather changes, we're getting more runoff down there.
Yeah, to have them things dry all out, you know, and not be cohesive and stuck together, and then get a big rain, get a lot of gulling and washing.
They're pretty flexible on what type of material you put through them. I'm thinking crushed concrete, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, this has got a conveyor on it instead of one of those screw augers like our sanders do. We always thought that we could use a sander, but we just can't get enough output. You just have to just creep along to do that. But these will really blast a lot of material out, and make it practical to run.
I think with this thing, it'll save us a lot of money in the long run as we get these manure tanks and bigger equipment on that shoulder. You know, if you can keep that shoulder stabilized, you won't get the chipping of the concrete or the cracking of the concrete or asphalt as bad.
I agree, Marty. We should be able to, with the one we've got, and we get two, we should be able to be a little more responsive too, because there's been times when we've kind of let the edge rut go just because we couldn't get to it all. There was so much of it after a big rain. Try to pull it up with blades.
So you used to do it with another type machine at one time too, didn't you?
We still got that. That's usually when we get 6 or 7 trucks together and haul out of a pile and do it, but it really uses a lot of material. You know, you can go through 20,000 tons of material in a hurry, and this seems to be more conservative with the amount of material you can get away putting down. Just pretty well the way the machine's built, but it's going to have to come out of storage one of these days, and we're going to have to fight the bullet on it, right?
As far as mounting that, you have to take it off to like regularly haul gravel. How long does it take to dismount that thing?
Goes on real quick.
Yeah, it's not pretty quick. Okay.
Just hang on there.
Just hangs on there, yeah. A couple of pins and a bolt or two, and hydraulic lines are already back there from the sanders that we've got. Probably use one of our older trucks. We've got a '99 Mack that's in pretty good shape. That we use. That it had one of it at one time. We moved it to a newer truck, and so we moved this one, the second one onto that. But I didn't put that on the agenda either. I just thought I'd talk to you about it. I think that's it.
And we're gonna move water line tomorrow?
Haven't heard yet from Dean, so I don't know. I'm hoping so.
Well, after I talked to you,
Yeah.
this weekend I got a call from the father-in-law. He was concerned about creating this snow fence there with wood.
Really?
And after I talked to him, the plans, he was all right, but thought I'd let you know.
I got the same phone call.
Yeah. That always is a snow pile, snow drift right in there, so we're gonna take, 4 or 5 feet off right in there, which.
No, I'm talking about the old site.
The
Oh.
old site, yeah, that
Yeah.
gravel pile. He told me about it Saturday too.
Yeah, we're gonna try and get that hauled out and get that over on our property. Once we get the pile hauled out, there's some more scraped up. We use that dozer that we rented, and that really worked good. They
Well,
wanna get down to the black dirt if we can.
I'm glad I had talked to you on Friday, because then I had an answer for it.
That's good, yeah.
This is almost premonition here.
Yeah, it just, there's so many times that you get asked something and you don't know the answer, and it happens to all of us. There comes a point you can beat stuff to death talking about it, but.
That's what I told him. I said, we had talked about it a couple of weeks ago. We had talked about it, so I said, it's on the agenda.
I grabbed Marty Friday and we went for a ride and went down and looked at old Highway 73 and that area down there. And we
What'd you
didn't
think?
invite you along because it was after lunch. We figured if it was before lunch, we'd call you. We could only make it work after lunch. So we went down, we drove it. I think that's probably the concern, is it has been paved up to, and that it looks to me like that maybe it could be a couple years old.
Yeah.
That they have done that.
Yeah.
And that's probably stirred up a lot of the conversation, but the east approach on the north lane looked like it should dip down a little bit. That might be a creation of a little bit of a bump, then you guys might wanna take a look at that. But other than that, the road needs shoulder, but that bridge needs worked on, and that bridge looks solid, doesn't rock yet
It
though.
is.
So, I mean, it's not one of those that's gonna come very high on the priority list, because
No, and it scores good enough for federal money, I think mainly due to its age, because it was built in the 30s.
Like I said, it's a little narrow, but boy, it's
Not
rock
that
solid.
bad, is it?
No,
Yeah.
it's not all that bad.
Yeah.
But like I said, just that east approach looked a little, but you guys can take a look at that and see what you think, if you can even do anything with it for right now.
Our neighbor did it to us there, fixing that road up, making it so nice.
Exactly. And that's what stirred up the conversation. I have not called him, but I will be calling him this week and telling him that it's not in the 5-year program, but
Okay.
we will be looking at that little dip a little bit, but other than that,
Yeah.
It looks like in the past, they put some cold patch in there, and it probably just needs a little more cold patch just to smooth it out again, and I think that would suffice for
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
Wish the neighbors would have taken care of that.
Yeah, and when they were fixing up the neyborhood, why didn't they fix that up too?
When I see Mitch, I'll bring it up.
Yeah, but anyway.
Dave, one other thing B&C brought up about dips, that by Tom Collison, have you went there going west and turn north? That, the old Sewell is so much higher than the Helber Road. I mean, it's like a hump.
Uh-huh.
So if we ever doing something in that neighborhood, I think that should be
Leveled
somewhat
out.
tapered or something. Next time you go there, pay attention to that.
So coming up to the stop sign on the.
You're going west, you come up to the stop sign.
The Helper
turn
Road,
north.
Uh-huh.
It's got a hell of a, even if you come off from the north, turning back to west, east, if you pull something, it's quite a dip there.
I haven't noticed that.
Quite a,
no.
there's quite a transition in that. Whenever that was done, that should have been tapered back more to the east.
It's been a long time since we've done
Mhm.
anything on that road, just slurry level, and I think
But
it's.
just pay attention, make a note of it.
Okay.
And it's something that we'll have to look at when we get back in the neighborhood, so.
No, thanks for the information on the rumble strips too. A lot of reading there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought it was kinda educational, so, to me.
That's in it's recent research, and
Okay.
just, and I think we'd have a couple of 12-foot roads, actually a couple of our old state roads that would qualify, or come close to qualifying anyway. I didn't send you guys a traffic count map, I should have done that, that is available on the DOT website.
The center crossing map, I thought that was quite educational myself. I was surprised at where they were all at.
Yeah, they've got a nice program called Saver, and it's on the web, I think anybody can get on it, and you can sort that stuff. The maps don't print out real great, but as far as
You get the gist
clarity,
of it,
but
yeah.
you get the gist of it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for looking at that, yeah, just,
Appreciate it.
I think it's, yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't have anything really clear yet. But the more we pursue it, the
Yep.
clearer it'll get.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Anything else,
Thanks,
Dave?
Seems like it should be, but
Seems like you're done.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think I'll go back.
thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Take care.
Have a good week.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay, next we have is a Class C beer permit for Al's Corner.
I'll make a motion to approve the Class C beer permit for Al's Corner.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to approve this Class C beer permit for Al's Corner. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary, motion carried. Okay, next we have fiscal year 19 department pre-budget assignments. And this is, I think these were the same ones we had last year, right, Courtney?
The one, I gave you the list from last year, so
Yeah.
you guys, yeah. So, my plan is to get everybody's budget worksheets to them this week. You know, give me some time to work on them, and then, so I thought this might be, we did these assignments last year about this time, so.
Give them a couple of weeks to work on them, and
Yeah,
then we can kind of
if
start.
they even need, yeah, if they
So
even
does
need that
anybody
one.
have a heartburn where they're at, or you wanna leave it the way it is?
I'm okay with where it.
I am too.
I am too, I don't care. Doesn't matter to me.
Neil and I lost one, but.
Yeah,
that
case
was-
management, we just will scratch that one off the
Yeah.
list.
Yeah.
Well,
Is
yeah.
that what you're referring to, Rich?
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, it would free me up to do something if someone else would like to give up something, but if you're happy with it, we'll just keep, consistency sometimes is pretty good.
Okay, then we'll do that.
Okay.
So, can I get a motion just to?
To approve that.
Assign, and I can put each department, we can list that, because last year we did do a motion to approve the assignments for who was gonna meet with who. That way there was documentation on who was meeting with
In the minutes.
who.
Okay,
So
I-
we could do that for
I
this
would-
and just say it's the same with the deletion of case management or something.
I would make a motion that we would do the assigned budget pre-assignments with the removal of case management.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve the assignments, leave them as they are with removal case management. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, next we have is the resolution of 2017-015 opioid epidemic. And again, this is the resolution that would put us, would state that we'd be joining the lawsuit for the opioid overuse usages.
I had one question, just because I was tweaking it for the signatures, and it says on here that, so on page 2 at the bottom, it says the county shall endeavor to faithfully perform all actions required of county in relation to claims contemplated herein and in the engagement letter. And then it talks about the engagement letter right above there, and then where you guys sign and approve, it's asking to forward a copy of the resolution with the signed engagement letter. Well, the engagement letter is not ready,
No,
correct?
right.
So, can you pass the resolution stating that you're gonna do the engagement letter if you have?
Well, I think we'll be approving the engagement letter at that same time. But yeah, they're wanting as many to get in this, so we get, as he said the other night.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Rich, to get more control as far as at the table. By
Yeah.
the more counties we have.
We get
More
a-
strength we have.
The counties that join in nationwide will get a better seat at the table. They'll have a more of a lead chair or assistant lead chair in, and that will change the direction or can control the direction of the lawsuit. And that's what we're trying to do, is get as many numbers so we get in that closer to the lead chair. And I think it's probably a wise choice, otherwise you could get drifted off by some outside firm that has a different purpose than we do.
Yeah, we would look at better interest for some other people in the counties. And then
And our-
we are supposed to send this then to Bill Peterson, not the attorney. And he will forward it. He wants to count, that way he keeps track of who's getting himself involved.
Okay.
Neil, do you have a question?
No, I just kind of comment that our county attorney, John Worden, has reviewed and recommended approval as well.
And is Bill with ISAC?
Yes, Bill
Yes,
Peterson.
Bill Peterson. I
Yep.
should have told you that.
Bill did a pretty good job last week of explaining it.
Yeah.
When we were at the district meeting over
Yeah.
in Boone. Just about a 10-minute kind of a
Oh,
summary
here.
of it.
Yeah.
William R. Peterson?
Yeah.
Cleared up a lot of issues for me.
Mhm.
Now, we may have some hoops to jump through here, providing information, but
Yeah, our only expense would be do an audit and providing information.
yeah, and depending on which department, I mean, the sheriff's department would, if we've had any opioid-related issues that he thinks he's come with any expenses, he's had to run people to more than normal, or he'll be able, and if Courtney has to deal up, pulling up any numbers, she can actually throw that number in, that's what we've expended, so we can help recover some of those costs.
Medical examiner.
Medical examiners, it branches all over the place.
You know, and on the ME, we get a name, but we don't know anything
But-
beyond that, so we're gonna have to be working with the ambulance department.
Yeah.
too.
Right.
And one sugar.
There'll be a lot of people doing digging for information, so.
Which is sometimes a good thing, because then it doesn't all fall on one person.
Correct.
So-
Yeah, it's gonna be, I would say you, probably the attorney, the sheriff, ambulance, ME,
Mental health,
mental health,
It
yeah.
would be on the regional level.
on a regional level, there'll be a piece of that pie in there, so.
Would there be any issues with HIPAA as far as,
Well, you're not.
Moving that
providing-
information
you're
around?
not providing them names, you're just providing
Providing them
data.
Totals and.
Totals.
In dollars.
and-
okay?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll guard against that as hard as.
Yeah.
Okay, what are your wishes?
I'd make a motion to move forward with the engagement letter for the opioid epidemic.
No.
Or no,
This is a
the
resolution.
resolution.
This is not the
I
engagement.
confused
Yeah.
it, because I started
Yeah.
talking about the letter.
Yeah, the resolution, I guess, that we put together.
Well, I want to clarify that.
Yeah, the letter will follow.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution 2017-015. This is so in regard to joint of suit in regard to opioid overusages. Any further discussion? If not, roll call?
Miners?
Yes.
Ruggles?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Bach?
Yes.
Answer?
Yes.
Motion carries. Answer.
Okay, next we have the manure management annual update. We have two of them, one for WJR Port Site 20, Section 26 of Arcadia Township, there's no changes. WJR Port Site 40, Section 35 Arcadia Township, no changes. Okay, committee reports. Rich, what you start us out today?
Alrighty. Last week. Go back to last week. We did the meeting at Boone on Wednesday Wednesday with ISAC, very informative. The opioid was probably one of the best topics there that, to me. They and Marty and Jean also attended this, so I'm not gonna steal too much of their thunder either, but all in all, it was a good meeting. Like I said, the opioid was a big deal. The legislative tax or talking points this year with the tax reform and the water quality management, the tax increment financing, and the mental health and disability services. Those were the four top subjects that were discussed. A lot of good information on these. A lot of people are handling them differently. They've found that we've seen a kind of a gamut of opinions there, especially when we got down, the hog confinements creeped into this, and that created a whole new dynamic there. Other than on Thursday, we had the Region 12, and Marty was there also, and we did pass 3 parts of the House File 203. We had to vote and either approve or disapprove, and the criteria of the federal management system, whether as classified as collectors, that did pass, and it was just a little tweak that we had to do. And then we also did the major collectors or higher priorities as the federal swap money will work. That did pass, and the local match requirement was a little bit of a change in there, but nothing to speak of. But those all 3 did pass. They all passed unanimous. We didn't have any descendants on that, so that all went well. Good report overall. They're in pretty good financial position. All the department heads are doing fairly well. The transportation is still doing great. They're still running the buses, systems. Looks like everything is running as well as possible out in Region 12. And I didn't think there was any red flags. Yeah, there's some minor little issues, but other than that, thing was well. This week, I do not have anything in front of me this week. Let me check that. But the only thing I have is I most likely are going to try to attend the Rolling Hills on Wednesday. I'm going to try to slide in there and go to that meeting.
That's the 20th, I believe.
That's the 20th. You're right. That's another week away. So now I don't have anything going in front of me this week.
Okay.
Dean?
I did not have anything this last week, but the week before that I couldn't report on because I left the meeting early on. That meeting. I went to attended the Region 5 Hazmat Hazardous Materials meeting on Wednesday, the 29th of November. And yeah, it was quite a meeting. And I'm going to try to be as brief as I can, but we covered a lot of ground. I'll just get right to the heart of it. They wanted to increase, they were working on the 2018 budget. They wanted to increase the contribution to $2. And
our current contribution is
$1.25.
significant increase.
Yes, reasoning for that was to, first, Peg Stickrod, who is the administrator up there, is retiring, and I'm a little bit unclear on this, and I didn't, because there was enough going on, I didn't want to extend the meeting any longer than it was. But, and you, Neil, can probably help me with this. She was working for the fire department, but she was also working for Iowa Central Community College. So I mean, it was a split salary that she was getting. Well, what Iowa Central Community College does, and this seems rather bizarre to me, when they have someone retire, for their retirement program, they give them an extra year's salary. And so that was not, we had to approve that. So it's,
That'd be- they
so,
give
so
extra salary?
when they retire, Iowa Central gives an individual, they don't have any retirement program. They give them a year's salary at the day they retire.
How does that involve region?
That's what my question was, and they said, well, it's expected. So there was some issue, there was some problems going with that.
So when, it's like saying you're retired from Windstar and they give you a bonus and we're expected to match it or something, or what are we getting at here?
Well, because it was.
Because the college and this is a separate, they're separate issues.
Yeah, they're separate issues. I think part of the issue was is that they don't pay any rent on the building that her office space or anything like that. So I think there's some contributions there over the years, you know, that, and so I think that kind of played into it as well. She gets compensated mostly for rent, not in dollars, but in rent. Things there anyway. There was considerable discussion on how we handle this going forward with the next individual, because we're not going to get into this convoluted thing again.
With my limited understanding, I don't know why you're getting involved in this go-around. And
Yeah.
who gets compensated for rent, an individual or a college?
Pardon me?
You said the compensation was for rent. And who gets the compensation for the rent? The person or the college?
Well, we do not pay anything for rent in the building, but I think she does secretarial work for them in that building. She's their receptionist type of individual, so she doesn't really get, that's the way I understood it.
So you're saying Region 5 has space that the college owns?
Right.
And Region 5 doesn't pay rent?
And she's the receptionist there at that building for.
Well, that's my thing. Why should a person get
Well, because
compensation for what a
they
college
felt that she was
provides?
actually employed by them. And that's their practice. It was not a good deal.
If I'm understanding it correctly, it's not a good deal, Dean.
It isn't.
Okay.
I understand
It's
that.
really,
And
really
So-
rowdy.
I recognize you as the messenger, not the,
And so it came to a vote then, you know, so I mean, the other part of that was 25 cents of that $2. Okay, so the other 50 cents was the new unit that they want to buy. And I mean, I wasn't the only one on this that had the flag up, was waving the red flag. It came down to, you know, I told them right up front that I was not in favor of any increases at all. And primarily because I think we're unfairly treated in Carroll County from the beginning because of, and we had a discussion about that, and in that discussion, I made a motion to form a committee to determine what is a fair contribution to all those involved. Scott Jacobs seconded. But he and I were the only ones that voted for it. Now, one concerning thing with me was that during this discussion, as far as, you know, all the issues that they have up there, all the industry they have, Merrill Leffler from Webster County, he says, well, I would gladly pay more. I mean, we do have more interest up here, you know, industry up here. We would, but when it came around to voting on that,
He didn't vote that way.
he didn't vote for it. So that dropped. The next vote was on purchasing the truck prior to the first of the year because there could be quite a bit of savings if you did it before the first year. And I've got, if anybody's interested, I do have This is what the truck would look like. There was extensive discussion on the truck then as far as what we want and what we're gonna get. You know, is what we have to pay for. You know, so I mean, they already got they had the numbers and everything, $643,000. They were going to actually, then there was discussion about having a semi and a trailer. There was discussion on putting a new chassis into what we have. And so, I mean, there was good discussion when it came about to, but I knew, I could tell the tone of where it was going. So Merrill Leffler made a motion to buy the truck before the first year. Now, since I'm a good citizen of Carroll County and of Breda, Iowa, and Toynes, I seconded that motion. But there was only 2 votes for it, so I knew that was gonna happen. I did it mostly out of the business in town here.
Loyalty, yeah.
So then, the conversation went to, the budget, how was that? It was, there were 2 more votes. The next vote was on the budget itself and increasing it to the 25 cents and not the truck. So that one, it really surprised me because Greene County was against a lot of the increases, and so was Hamilton County. And so when it came around to the vote, there were 2 votes to not increase to $1.50. And so Hamilton County and Carroll County voted no, and it did pass. So that will go into effect in 19.
So it's $1.50.
Yep. So then, they have this foundation that they have formed, and they want to go out and solicit dollars for this. Well, it sounds like this is dead now. So they don't know, how can we go out and solicit for funding from, say, Koch Industries and Van Diest and those, if we're not even actually going to buy a truck. So there was a motion that went around that we would address the truck issue in 12 months again. Like, we're going to buy the truck in 12 months?
So are they gonna seek
So
donations in that 12
so they
months?
wanted this motion so that they could go out and seek dollars, thinking that they're actually going to buy one of these. It came up to the chairman to break the tie. There were 9 votes in the room, 4 voted against, 4 voted for, and Stan voted for it. So there's definitely pushback. It's not a good thing. Any questions?
So, tell me again, we are currently paying what?
We're currently paying $1.25.
And we're gonna raise it another 25 cents?
25 cents. And that's only temporary to pay that retirement benefit. And then it goes back to $1.25. So yeah, make that stipulation. But I've got a map of all the hazardous teams in the state of Iowa, and we're gonna be looking. Gonna be looking. That's my report. This week I have Conservation Board meeting tonight, and WMA, Raccoon Valley, Raccoon River, North Raccoon River, on Wednesday morning. Any questions that I can answer on the hazmat meeting?
I got a million questions, but I think you got so much turmoil that
Yeah, I mean, the good thing was is that at least this time I wasn't the only guy in the room.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, there was,
Maybe the tide is turning.
yeah.
So and let me go back to this probably wasn't part of your report, but you had that concern of what we got charged up with Brita. Has there anything been more done on that?
No, and I kind of laid a little bit low on that simply because I from what I heard from fire chiefs and stuff like that, they said that was a low. They didn't think there was a lot of, they thought that was an appropriate amount of money for that. So, one thing I am gonna find out is how they, because we were gonna do that, we talked about that, Neil, is how they charge for that. I mean, that was the thing that I needed to get cleared up on, was how.
Some of your math.
Yeah,
Yeah.
explain your math, so,
Yeah, make sure it's consistent all the way through.
yeah, I mean, so that somebody can understand it without coming to false conclusions, so.
It's a situation where if someone said, what if this happened, what will I be charged? We don't know, because there's no chart, no rhyme or reason that's.
And there is
And who does the determination?
they do have a rate formula, which I've never seen,
Okay,
so.
maybe it's better than that, I thought.
And one thing I did say, I was pretty vocal on this. I said, you guys have a lot of information that I'm not privy to. And I would like to have that information. So the chief of the Fort Dodge Fire Department took down my email address and contact information. So he's gonna get to me as far as the rates. Someone made the comment that Carroll County is third in the line as far as risk, behind Webster, Hamilton, and counties. So I questioned that, whether they were gonna give me that information. It was good discussion. Heated once in a while.
Sounds lively.
I guess as I look at this thing, Dean, I look at, we're third in line. Maybe there's something we need to do, maybe per capita, or something based on usage of how much we use it.
That's what my emotion was.
Yeah.
To change the formula for the
Yeah.
contribution. To look at risk, look at calls,
Mhm.
look, and, maybe it can be three things. Per capita, the risk up there,
There's such a raise of that based on the year previous,
Mhm.
so you're
Yeah.
actually a year behind, but at least
Yeah.
you could.
But the
Justified.
gentleman who is on the executive board from Van Diest said, he said, you're gonna have just as many suggestions or opinions as you have people in the room when you want to change. And I agree, because everybody's got.
Yeah, they're gonna base their information off their own situation.
Yes, and so, I mean, it could be hard to get to something, and he said that he felt that per capita was the best. So, I says, and they quizzed me on the railroad.
Van Diest is huge, and they have lots of exposure.
Oh, yeah.
They have
We
trucks
assume the
and
railroad's
rail.
probably our biggest exposure.
Well,
I
it
would
is,
assume.
and they pointed at it. Dean said, you got Union Pacific running right through there, and they got a lot of. And he says, yeah, but they have their own.
That's what I was gonna say.
They have
clean
their
up
own hazmat team
Yeah.
that they don't really want
Outside.
outside. They don't want to pay anybody else. You know how the railroads work, and they all agreed. Well, that's probably true, but they said they're not going to get there for 2 or 3 days. And then
Oh, I
in the
don't know about
meantime, you have a situation. Well, I said, the situation is when there's a derailment, it's to mitigate the situation. So you've got the fire departments coming in, and they're moving people out if they need. So the fire departments are actually
In control.
in control. They're taking control of the situation. Where hazmat, maybe, I don't know if even Region 5 hazmat has enough, is big enough to handle
Railroad.
a
situation
railroad
like
situation like this.
I was
You know?
gonna say, like, when they had the derailment at Maple River that time, they were there within hours.
Union Pacific.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I fought the good fight.
Sounds like you got an uphill battle.
But,
Well, it sounds like you're getting some, at least some,
People that are-
attention.
yeah, I think so. You know, like I said, I wasn't the only one in the room this time that was fighting the battles, so. And I think people are really understanding that, you know, well, I mean, there was a lot of them said that, well, I can't go back to my board and ask for this. And so, you know, Scott Jacobs said that, and Greene County said that, Hamilton County, that Dave Young, he was pretty hard against a lot of increases in Hamilton County, so. Anyway, I did what I could, but, so we got a temporary increase of 25 cents. Hopefully that'll be it.
Yep.
We'll see what goes forward.
Didn't have any important meetings last week other than the board meeting, but coming up this week, Friday, I'll be in Webster City for the 2nd Judicial District meeting. And the two big things on the agenda there is the fiscal year 18 budget revision and reduction plan. As previously reported, they're anticipating about $400,000 less of income due to the not having federal prisoners, and it's going to continue that way. It's just not a one-time deal. So the proposal, and I just talked to our director last week, guess that's the one thing I did last week, is visit with our director, Amanda Milligan. The proposal is going to be to close down the B.G. Clark Residential Center, which is in Ames, and change that to an office building and quit renting some very expensive rental property where the offices are in Ames, and that will take care of that. It will involve about 13 employees. They're not filling a lot of their vacancies now, hoping that a lot of those employees are well aware of our intentions at this time. So some of them are looking for other employment. Some of them are applying or intend to apply on some of the vacancies that we have. So at the meeting on Friday, that's going to be the proposal. That's going to be explained by our director and our financial person. There is going to be some pushback. There will be an employee of the B.G. Clark Center is going to come visit with us and tell us that it's the wrong thing to do. And I believe the Boone County attorney, who uses that facility a lot, is also going to encourage us not to close it down. And I told the man, I said, that's okay, we want to hear both sides, this is an important decision. So we're going to have some lively discussion at our meeting on Friday as well, and I'll keep you informed of what happens there.
That it, yeah?
That's it.
Okay, Marty?
Okay. Last Wednesday, we attended the same meeting as Gene and Rich over at Boone for the District 1 regional meeting for ISAC. Like Rich kind of gave you an update on some of the stuff that went with the opioid. The other is kind of interesting to hear with the master matrix. Rich talked a little bit about that. It's kind of interesting to listen to some of the Hamilton County and Webster County, some of the issues that are going on up there as far as the master matrix. The discussion was pretty strong, and something has to be done to redo the master matrix in upcoming legislation. So I'm sure for this coming year that will be addressed. The other thing we did appoint a new director for District 1. Rick Sanders is from Story County. He basically took my position since I moved up to second vice president. So that was voted on at that same meeting. Then on Thursday evening, had the Region 12 meeting. The first part we had was the actual executive board meeting. The first item of discussion there was the fiscal 2019 transit request. They're looking at doing a couple increases there for fiscal year 19, and Rick, when he comes here for Region 12, will discuss that a little bit. But what they're looking at doing is the per capita rate right now is at 48 cents. They're looking at raising that to 50 cents per capita for the transportation. And then also the mileage that they are charging right now is at 5 cents, and they're looking at increasing that to 6 cents per mile. So we'll be getting more information on that later when Region 12 does their budget request. The other thing we talked about is consider the resolution in accepting the intermediary relending program, and that's when we talked about the $21,000 match for the counties. We did talk about that a little bit last week as far as the funding for that. The request for Carroll County, they will accept that in 2019. The way it's set up right now, Greene County wants to pay theirs in 2018, and that's the only county that has come forward, so that's the reason that was brought up. So 2019 for that payment is fine at this point. And then after that meeting, we had the RDC meeting. We had 2 loans to consider there. Tammy Lehman kind of gave us an update on those. The first loan application was for Samha Foods out of Schleswig, and they're basically the same entity that owns Quality Foods in Harlan. And what they're looking at doing in Schleswig is basically marinating. When they open this business up, they want to do marinating for the Asian market, and that's kind of the focus of opening up this new plant in Schleswig. And we approved a $300,000 loan for over a 10-year span. The other loan application we approved was Natural Wonders Learning Center over in Jefferson. It's a child care center. They're looking at opening up a child care center for 37 children, and we approved a $54,300 loan there. Then we went into the Policy Council meeting, and I'll pass around. John Morrow kind of gave us an update on the 3 different entities of Region 12. There's actually Region 12. There's the housing loan, and then the RDC. And so I'll just pass those audits, and John Morrow gave us a presentation there. We also talked about the long-range transportation plan, and Rich kind of hit on that, of what we approved there. I'll just pass this around. This is just kind of a summary of that long-range transportation plan. We had the executive director's report. Rick just kind of gave us an update of what's going on there. He's in the process of this week of going down to Missouri to do a peer review for a couple of COGs down in the Missouri area. He talked a little bit about the budget request, and I talked about that already with the IRP loan program and such. The other thing he talked about is for prison housing, the Iowa Prison Industries, they're trying to work with legislators to begin a new program. And basically what they're doing is there's a building in Newton that they want to use prisoners to basically build homes, like what I want to call it, prefab home kind of.
Packaged homes.
Yeah, packaged homes, and they want to do that, and they're looking at these houses would cost $50,000 to $60,000 to build, and they're looking at using prison labor to do that. So Rick is going to be working with legislators and trying to get that program going. The local assistance program, Chris Whitaker kind of gave us an update on that. He talked a little bit about the CBDG grants and the EDA. They're working with Denison with Quality Food Processors, which is down in Harlan. He's working on the wastewater main replacement in Manning. Jefferson, they're looking at doing downtown facade improvements. And then also Crawford County is the Monograms Food Career Link, and that's basically providing transportation. They're trying to get another transportation, or one of the buses going to Midwest Industries up in Ida Grove to create transportation for people out of Denison to go up to Midwest Industries. He talked about the housing program and gave us a little bit of an update of what's going in process there. And then as far as planning and technical assistance projects, he's working with an annexation study in Denison, comprehensive plan in Manning. He's working on code codification in Madrid, Greene County, cities of Sheridan, Dana, Grand Junction, Peyton, and Scranton, and that has to do with the public safety ordinances. He's working with zoning ordinances in Madrid and Guthrie County. Source water protection, he's working on a couple projects in Casey and Guthrie Center. and strategic planning in Grand Junction in Madrid. And then the EMS audits, he's still working on those for several counties also. As far as the transit report, Tom kind of gave us an update of that. They've got 36 employees currently in the transit department. They've got the director, a service manager, transit assistant, office assistant, 20 full-time drivers and 12 part-time drivers. They've added a couple new employees in the area. Dale Murley has joined them in Sac County, Larry Blake in Manning, Tim Austin in Westside, and Robbie Grunmeyer in Carroll. And then the workforce director report, Rick gave a report, an overview there for Beth. She wasn't there Thursday evening. They're looking at doing a statewide program reorganization, and basically what this deals with is trying to set up regions instead of just independent counties, and that's a work in process there. That's pretty much everything for Thursday. And then on Friday, I've got the text from the ambulance board, and I gave you guys a copy of all that, what that entails. And Gene's gonna talk with John a little bit more about that and see where we wanna go with that. And then also went down to Coon Rapids with Rich to look at the bridge project down there and some things that we got going. And that was pretty much my week last week. This week I have Wesco board meeting this evening, and then solid waste tomorrow morning. That's all I have.
Last week, Tuesday, we had CADC board. Basically, we did a review, went over the review for the executive director and staff. And then on Wednesday, I was with Rich and Marty at the District 1 meeting. And there again was a lot of, one of the things that's brought out how much wide difference there is between counties in regard to master matrix. And it was a good meeting. It could have been a little better attendance. I was surprised the attendance we did have. And the other thing that came out of it was the fact that my phone number's wrong on their information for this week I have policy council tomorrow night, and that's for White's note. And then on Thursday, I have new opportunity board meeting, and Friday is DS Center board meeting up in Cherokee. Did anybody have a chance to look at these, or? I got a little bit, but so let's try to talk about this next week, or unless you want to break them up or something. We'll wait till next week.
Yeah, let's wait a minute, please.
It's, talk to the trustees and those.
Yeah, appointments.
Appointments for the terms that are up.
Okay. Anything, Courtney, you have anything?
Got a request for funding. I think we get one from this place every year. I'll pass it around, you can look at it. We don't normally meet with them or fund them, but I just wanted you to be aware that we got a letter. So we've got a few things that we'll be adding for next week. I have the ambulance will be here next week for a department update, possible closed session. And then we have a lot of funding requests. Managed child care, community concern. Terry Axon's gonna be here with our insurance renewal. Sounds like it's a little less than what we thought it was gonna be, so he has some good news. Family resource, new op, CADC, and historical society. So apparently everybody wanted to come in before Christmas.
That's good.
Well, let's get them done so we can.
That's right.
then you guys can decide what you're gonna do.
I have a question I want to bring up concerning our county car, and I've taken it to a few meetings. I was unable to take it to the last Rolling Hills meeting because Carl already had it checked out, but first I think more people should be using it. But the situation is, I was planning on taking it Friday to my second judicial district meeting, but the county doesn't pay my mileage, the second judicial district does. So I suppose I should have them, right, if if I take that car, have them write the check to Carroll County, it shouldn't go to me. Or should I just take my personal car to keep it clean? See what I'm saying?
Well,
I
I
think
think
it-
either way, I mean, if you take the county car, yeah, they should reimburse the county.
They should write the check to Carroll County.
But if that's gonna be too much for them to figure out,
Well-
or a pain in the butt for them, then.
Will that throw them a appearance of impropriety?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Unless you would take the county vehicle, they write you a check, and then you submit reimbursement to the county for your reimbursement.
That's the way it's set up right now, is I take my vehicle, they write me a check, and it comes, and I keep it. But if I took the county car, I wouldn't want to keep it.
Right, so they, yeah, you could certainly just write a check back to the county, and that's what it would be documented as, so I
Okay.
guess however you.
I'll
wanna
either do
handle
that,
it.
take personal vehicle, but I would encourage more people to take that. I've taken it to Rolling Hills, and it works out. Yeah, it's inconvenient. I have to drive to the courthouse, switch vehicles, drive up there, drive back, check it out online, but it saves the county a little bit of money. I see Carl uses it quite frequently. I don't know if anybody other than Carl and I do that.
Jason Hoffman's used it a few
Jason uses
times
it. Good,
in Com
good.
Center. It's definitely getting used more now than it is sitting over there, so
Good.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's a good thing.
I guess that's what I'll say. The more we use it, the more the county saves. Okay, I'll take care of the second, I'll probably just.
Anything else?
A lot of times for me, it's inconvenient because I have to drive here and then,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's almost like backtracking,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
more convenient for myself living in Carroll.
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, for the three of us, I'm sure it's probably more convenient than.
Yeah, like for me, right here, see, I gotta drive this way instead of going that way. And the other thing is, I gotta, if I leave like Cherokee, I leave early in the morning before they're open. So then I either gotta come the night before, so then I'm making an extra trip up here.
Yeah.
It's just- Besides that, I like long legs. Okay. Any comments from those in attendance?
What are the board's goals for developing next year's budget?
I think.
Goals they've always been to provide services that are needed for the county
And
and do a
any cost?
fiscally responsible job of doing that.
Reasonable rates.
Yeah, that's not at any cost. I think
No.
he's got the right answer. Fiscally responsible.
I think that's
You know,
what
I
the
think
board's
we're-
done
yeah.
all along.
What should our goals be, Virginia?
It's your job.
Okay, I just thought maybe you had a suggestion. I wanted to hear it. Thank you.
Well, we've got all these fundraisers for all these people that can't afford anything anymore. And yet taxes go up, they gotta pay taxes and rent, so how do you balance that? And everybody so far is asking for an increase. And I'm sure the rest will too.
No, I don't think
No,
they've asked for an
where do you get
increase.
everybody's asked for an
We only had
increase?
one increase.
We've only had one increase.
Asking this morning. Everybody else was level
Elder
funded.
Bridge, I don't know where they were,
They were the
They were
same.
same.
Well, they're up a little
RSVP
bit.
the same, foster granters the same, Breedy requests 1,000 more. They've
They
done that-
requested what they had last year, what they
and they've
requested
said
last year.
They've done that since 2014, as far as my record goes back. They
Yeah.
request 7, got 6, so they have gotten no increase.
Carroll area, even though she wasn't here, the letter says they're asking for the same amount they had last year.
Yes,
so.
Carroll, yes.
Carroll
they-
Carroll
Daycare,
Carroll
yeah.
Daycare, Carroll's
Yeah.
asking the same, so not everybody's asking an increase, most are not.
And sometimes there's some requests that are warranted too. I mean, you know, if we have to have a different vehicle for something,
I'm sure our biggest increase will come from, most likely from Carroll Area Development. They was the largest asking last year.
and it probably won't be this year.
It's interesting, on your Region 12 handout, they had a list of the 10 largest employers in the region, and 7 of them are in Carroll County.
Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah.
I did see that.
Okay, anything else? If not, we're in order for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second that.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.